Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hey. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hey. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rakshamam. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Om Ajnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Charine. Trinadapi Sunichena Torar Iva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalo Naskiva, Naskiva, Naskiva Gatir Anyata. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So I forgot to do something. I forgot to make you co-host. I'm sorry. So give me a second. I'll make you co-host. 1 second. Let's see where you are. How come I don't see you? No, I see you there. There you are. Okay, you are now co-host. Yes, I want to make Shailesh co-host. Very good. I'm muting you all until after the program. Hare Krishna. So tonight we're continuing where we left off in the Brahma Vimohana Leela. And so we'll just pick up where we left off. And so when Lord Brahma was thus standing, baffled in his limited power and conscious of his limited activities within the 11 senses, Brahma could realize that he too was also a creation of the material energy, just like a puppet. As a puppet has no independent power to dance, but dances according to the direction of the puppet master, so also demigods and living entities are all subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ekale Ishwar Krishna Arshabritya Jare Jache Nachai Se Taiche Kare Nritya. The only master is Krishna, and all others are Krishna's servants. The whole world is under the control of the material spell, and beings are floating like straws in the waves of that ocean. So their struggle for existence thus continues. But as soon as one becomes conscious that he or she is the eternal servant of Krishna, then this Maya or illusory struggle for existence is immediately stopped. Lord Brahma, who has full control over the goddess of learning, and who is considered to be the best authority in Vedic knowledge, was thus perplexed, being unable to understand the extraordinary power manifested by Krishna. In the mundane world, even a personality like Lord Brahma is unable to understand the mystic power of Krishna. And not only did Brahma fail to understand, but he was becoming perplexed even to see the display which was being manifested by Krishna before him. Krishna then took compassion upon Lord Brahma, who was unable even to see how Krishna was displaying the forms of Vishnu and transforming himself into calves and cowherder boys. And thus, while fully manifesting the Vishnu expansions, Krishna suddenly pulled his curtain of Yoga Maya over the scene. We remember in Bhagavad Gita this verse, Nahang Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samavrita Mudho Yang Nabijanati Loko Mam Ajam Avyayam. Krishna is not visible due to the curtain spread by Yoga Maya. That which covers the reality is called Mahamaya, or the external energy, which does not allow a conditioned soul to understand Krishna beyond the cosmic manifestation. But the energy which partially manifests Krishna and partially does not allow one to see is called Yoga Maya. We should remember that Lord Brahma is not an ordinary conditioned soul. He is far, far superior to all the other demigods, and yet he could not comprehend the display of Krishna. And therefore Krishna willingly stopped manifesting any further potency. The ordinary conditioned soul not only becomes bewildered, but is completely unable to understand. And so the curtain of Yoga Maya was drawn so that Lord Brahma would not become more and more perplexed. And when Lord Brahma was relieved from his perplexity, he appeared to awaken from an almost dead-like state. And so he began to open his eyes with great difficulty. Thus, Lord Brahma could see the external cosmic manifestation with common eyes. Brahma saw all around him the super excellent view of Vrindavan, full with trees, which is the source of life for all living entities. Brahma could appreciate the transcendental land of Vrindavan, where all living entities are transcendental to ordinary nature. In the forest of Vrindavan, even ferocious animals like tigers and others live peacefully along with the deer and human beings. Lord Brahma could understand that because of the presence of Krishna, Vrindavan is transcendental to all other places and is free of lust and greed. Lord Brahma thus found Krishna playing the part of a small cowherder boy. Brahma saw the little child Krishna still holding a lump of food in his left hand and searching out for his friends and calves, just as Krishna had actually been doing 1 year before after their disappearance. And so immediately Lord Brahma descended from his great swan carrier and fell down before the Lord just like a golden stick. The word used among Vaishnavas for offering respect is dandavat. This word means falling down like a stick. One should offer respect to the superior Vaishnava by falling down straight with one's body, just like a stick. And so, Lord Brahma fell down before Krishna, just like a stick, to offer respect. And because the complexion of Brahma is golden, he appeared to be like a golden stick lying down before Lord Krishna. All the 4 helmets on the heads of Brahma touched the lotus feet of Krishna. Lord Brahma, now being very joyful, began to shed tears of ecstasy, and so he washed the lotus feet of Krishna with his eyes. Repeatedly he fell and rose as he recalled the wonderful activities of Krishna. After repeating obeisances for a long time, Lord Brahma stood up and smeared his hands over his eyes, which had been crying. And seeing Krishna before him, Lord Brahma, now trembling, began to offer prayers with great respect, humility, and attention. So now we will go into these prayers of Lord Brahma. I have edited these prayers and made them easier for you to understand. But we do need to go over these prayers because these are very, very essential for understanding what we will be hearing about in the future chapters. Lord Brahma prayed, "My dear Lord, you are the only worshipful Supreme Lord. Therefore I am offering my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. Your bodily features are of the color of clouds filled with water. You are glittering with a silver electric aura emanating from your yellow garments. Let me offer my respectful repeated obeisances unto the son of Maharaj Nanda, who is standing before me with conch shell, earrings, and peacock feather on his head. His face is beautiful. He is wearing a helmet garlanded by forest flowers. And Krishna stands with a morsel of food in his hand. Krishna is decorated with a cane, buffalo horn bugle, and a flute. And Krishna stands before me with small lotus feet. My dear Lord, people may say that I am the master of all Vedic knowledge, and I am supposed to be the creator of the universe. But it has been proved now that I cannot understand your personality, even though you are present before me just like a child. You are playing with your boyfriends, calves, and cows, which might imply that you do not even have sufficient education. You are appearing just like a village boy, carrying your food in your hand, searching for your calves. And yet, there is so much difference between your body and my body that I cannot estimate the potency of your body. Indeed, your body is not material. O Krishna, your appearance as a cowherder boy is for the benefit of the devotees. And although I have committed offenses at your lotus feet by stealing away your cows, boys, and calves, I can understand that you have shown mercy upon me. That is your transcendental quality. You are very affectionate towards your devotees. In spite of your affection for me, I cannot estimate the potency of your bodily activities. And it is to be understood when I, Lord Brahma, the Supreme Personality within this universe, cannot estimate the childlike body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then what to speak of others? And if I cannot estimate the spiritual potency of your childlike body, then what can I understand about your transcendental pastimes? I therefore recommend that people should not try to understand you by their speculative knowledge. The best process of understanding you is to submissively give up the speculative process and try to hear about you and yourself, or from a realized devotee who has taken shelter of your lotus feet. One has to hear from a devotee without speculation. One does not even need to change his or her worldly position. He or she simply has to hear your message. Although you are not understandable by the blunt material senses, still, simply by hearing about you, one can gradually conquer the nescience of misunderstanding. And so, by your grace only, you become revealed to the devotee. But you are unconquerable by any other means. Speculative knowledge, without any trace of devotional service, is simply a useless waste of time in search for you. Devotional service is so important that even a little attempt can raise one to the highest perfectional platform. One should not, therefore, neglect this auspicious process of devotional service and take to the speculative method. By the speculative method, one may gain partial knowledge of your cosmic manifestation, but it is not possible to understand you, who are the origin of everything. The attempt of persons who are interested only in speculative knowledge is simply wasted labor, like the labor of a person who attempts to gain something by beating the empty husk of a rice paddy. A little quantity of paddy can be husked by the grinding wheel, and one can gain some grains of rice. But if the skin of the paddy is already beaten by the grinding wheel, then there is no further gain in beating the husk again. It is simply useless labor. So, my dear students, what we just heard from Lord Brahma is a main reason why it is extremely important to attend this class every week. We just heard Lord Brahma say, simply by hearing from Krishna or his devotee, there is no other way to understand God. You have to understand God either directly, such as we studied Bhagavad Gita, or this Krishna book, or Srimad Bhagavatam, where devotees inform us the science of God. So this weekly hearing class is the most important thing. Please take this 1 hour class very, very seriously, because it will have great effect on your life. Lord Brahma's prayers now continue. My dear Lord Krishna, there are many instances in the history of human society where a person, after failing to achieve the transcendental platform, engaged in devotional service with one's body, mind, and words, and thus attained the highest perfectional stage of entering into your abode. The process of understanding you by speculation or mystic meditation are all useless without devotional service. One should therefore engage in devotional service even in one's worldly activities, and one should always keep him or herself near you by the process of hearing and chanting your transcendental glories. Simply by being attached to hearing and chanting your glories, one can attain the highest perfectional stage and can enter into your transcendental spiritual kingdom. If a person, therefore, always keeps in touch with you by hearing and chanting your glories, and offers the results of his or her work for your satisfaction only, then he or she very easily and happily attains entrance into your supreme abode. You are realizable by persons who have cleansed their hearts of all contamination. This cleansing of the heart is made possible by hearing and chanting the glories of your Lordship. So again, Lord Brahma has shown us why this class is of utmost importance. Simply by hearing and chanting, Lord Chaitanya in this age of Kali made the process of self-realization the easiest method possible. All you have to do is agree to hear and chant. That is how you surrender. So many times people ask me, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to surrender. How do I surrender? This is how you surrender. You simply, submissively hear and chant the glories of Krishna. So every week when you attend the program and you actually pay attention, you are surrendering to Krishna. Part 3 of Brahma's prayers. My dear Lord, I pray that I may be so fortunate that in this life or in another life, wherever I may take my birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. Wherever I may be, I pray that I may be engaged in your devotional service. I do not even care what form of life I get in the future, because I can see that even in the form of cows and calves or cowherder boys, devotees are so fortunate to be always engaged in your transcendental loving service and transcendental association. Therefore, I wish to be one of them. Indeed, instead of such an exalted person as I am now, I am still full of ignorance. The gopis and cows of Vrindavan are so fortunate that they have been able to supply their breast milk to you. Persons who are engaged in performing great sacrifices and offering many valuable goats in sacrifice cannot attain the perfection of understanding you. But simply by devotional service, these innocent village women and cows are able to satisfy you with their milk. You have drunk their milk to satisfaction, and yet you are never satisfied by those engaged in performing sacrifices. I am simply surprised, therefore, with the fortunate position of Maharaj Nanda, Mother Yashoda, and the other cowherder men and the gopis. Because you, Krishna, are the absolute truth, you are existing here as their most intimate, lovable object. My dear Lord, no one can actually appreciate the good fortune of these residents of Vrindavan. We are all demigods, controlling deities of the various senses of the living entities, and we are proud of enjoying such privileges. But actually, there is no comparison between our position and the position of these fortunate residents of Vrindavan. It is because they are actually relishing your presence and enjoying your association by dint of their activities. We may be proud of being controllers of the senses, but here the residents of Vrindavan are so transcendental that they are not under our control. Actually, they are enjoying their senses through service to you. Now that's a very important sentence by Lord Brahma. Actually, they are enjoying their senses through service to you. That is what we mean by transcendental enjoyment. The residents of Vrindavan do not try to enjoy directly. Their enjoyment is through service to Krishna. That is how they enjoy. Lord Brahma continues, I shall therefore consider myself fortunate to be given a chance to take birth in this land of Vrindavan in any of my future lives. My dear Lord, I am therefore not interested in material opulences or even liberation. I am most humbly praying at your lotus feet for you to please give me any sort of birth within this Vrindavan forest, so that I may be able to be favored by the dust of the feet of some devotee in Vrindavan. Even if I am given the chance to grow just as the humble grass in this land, that will be a glorious birth for me. But if I am not so fortunate to take birth within the forest of Vrindavan, then I beg to be allowed to take birth outside the immediate area of Vrindavan, so that when the devotees go out, they will walk over me. Even that would be a great fortune for me. I am just aspiring for such a birth, in which I will be smeared by the dust of the feet of your devotees. I can see everyone here in Vrindavan is simply Krishna conscious. They do not know anything but the lotus feet of you, Krishna, for which the Vedas themselves are searching. Part 4. My Lord, sometimes I am puzzled as to how your Lordship will be able to repay in gratitude the devotional service of these residents of Vrindavana. Although I know that you are the supreme source of all benediction, I am puzzled to know how you will be able to repay all the service that you are receiving from these residents of Vrindavan. And then I think how you are so kind and so magnanimous that even Putana, who came to cheat you, who came to kill you by dressing herself as a very affectionate mother, was awarded liberation and the actual post of a mother. And other demons belonging to the same family, Aga Asura and Baka Asura, were also favored with liberation. So under the circumstances, I am puzzled. The residents of Vrindavan have given you everything, their bodies, their minds, their love, their homes. Everything is being utilized for your purpose. So how will you be able to repay their debt? Why, you have already given yourself to Putana. So I surmise that you shall ever remain a debtor to the residents of Vrindavana, being unable to repay their loving service. My Lord, I can understand that the super excellent service of the residents of Vrindavan is due to their spontaneously engaging all their natural instincts in your service. It is said that attachment for material objects in home is due to illusion, which makes a living entity conditioned in this material world. But this is only the case for persons who are not in Krishna consciousness. For in the case of the residents of Vrindavan, such obstructions as attachment to hearth and home are non-existent. Because their attachment has converted unto you, and their homes have been converted into a temple, because you are always there, and because they have forgotten everything just for your sake, then there is no impediment. For a Krishna-conscious person, there is no such thing as impediments in hearth and home, nor is there any illusion. I can also understand that your appearance as a small cowherder boy, as a child of the cowherder men, is not at all a material activity. You are so much obliged by their affection that you are here simply to inspire them with more loving service by your transcendental presence. In Vrindavan, there is no distinction between material and spiritual, because everything is dedicated to your loving service. My dear Lord, your Vrindavan pastimes are simply to inspire your devotees. If someone takes your Vrindavan pastimes to be material, then he or she will simply be misled. My dear Lord Krishna, those who deride you, claiming that you have a material body just like an ordinary man, are described as demoniac and less intelligent. Actually, you are always transcendental. Thus, non-devotees are cheated because they consider you to be a material creation. Actually, you have assumed this body, which resembles that of an ordinary cowherder boy, simply to increase the devotion and transcendental bliss of your devotees. Oh, my dear Lord, I have nothing to say about persons who advertise themselves that they have already realized God, or that by their so-called realization they have themselves become God. As far as I'm concerned, I admit frankly that for me, it is not possible to realize you with my body, mind, or speech. So what can I say about you? Or how can I realize you with my senses? I cannot even think of you perfectly with my mind, which is the master of all the other senses. Your qualities, activities, your body cannot be conceived by any person within this material world. Actually, only by your mercy can one understand to some extent what you are. That, my students, is a very important concept. We cannot think that we will understand Krishna simply by academic scholarship. You can read and study and read and study and not actually understand. Only when you get Krishna's mercy does the understanding come. So please keep that in mind. When Krishna is merciful, then we will get the understanding. And as I pointed out many times in the past, a verse from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, that one who has complete faith in Krishna and an equal amount of faith in the spiritual master, that person only will understand the meaning of these scriptures. Lord Brahma's prayers continue. My dear Lord, you are the supreme Lord of all creation. Although I sometimes falsely think that I am the master of this universe. Yes, I may be master of this universe, but there are innumerable universes, and there are innumerable other Brahmas who preside over these universes. But actually, you are the master of them all. As the supersoul in everyone's heart, you know everything. Therefore, please accept me as your surrendered servant. I hope that you will excuse me for trying to disturb you in your pastimes with your friends in cabs. So now, if you will kindly allow me, I will immediately leave so that you can enjoy your friends in cabs without my presence. My dear Lord Krishna, your very name suggests that you are all attractive. The attraction of the sun and moon are only due to you. By the attraction of the sun, you are beautifying the very existence of the Yadu dynasty. And with the attraction of the moon, you are enhancing the potency of this land, the demigods, the brahmanas, the cows, and the oceans. Because of your supreme attraction, demons like Kamsa and others will all be annihilated. Therefore, it is my deliberate conclusion that you are the only worshipful deity within this creation. So please accept my humble obeisances until the annihilation of this material world. As long as there is sunshine within this material world, kindly accept my humble obeisances. So we'll pick up from there next week. Right now, I want to sing Nasringa prayers for the benefit of all of my students, and in particular, birthday blessings for Jitu. But I'm also blessing all of you. So, especially Jitu, you will get this Nasringa prayers. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlad Aklada Dayane. Hiranya Kashipur Vakshaha. Shilatanka Nakalaye. Ito Nrsinga Parato Nrsingho. Yato Yato Yami Tato Nrsingha. Bahir Nrsingho Hridaye Nrsingho. Nrsingha Madim Sharanam Prapadye. Nrsingham Adim Sharanam Prapadye. Nrsingham Adim Sharanam Prapadye. Nrsingham Adim Sharanam Prapadye. Tavakara Kamlavarei Nakham Adbhuta Sringam. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahadi Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadrita Narahadi Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadish. Jai Jagadish. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribrajaka Astotra Satta Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se koho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Syamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhana ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Yamuna Devi ki jai. Ganga Devi ki jai. Shramaveta Bhakta Vrindi ki jai. Krishna book students of Cologne ki jai. Birthday boy Jitu ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Hari Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol.